Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with another unit review, or this time I will do two units review from the Adeptas Sororitas codex. Keep reviewing the units in that codex, and yeah, and now I wanted to go to the heavy support to review two units there. One is the Penitent Engine. Penitent Engine is a vehicle that have weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 2, strength 5, um, front and side armor 11, rear armor 10, and then initiative 3, 3 attacks, and 3 hull points for 80 points. It goes with one Penitent Engine, and you can take up to 2 additional. What rules it has? Well, it's a vehicle that is walker and open top, uh, and have 2 dreadnought close combat weapons with heavy flamers. Uh, then have Rage, Shield of Fails, Unstoppable, and is the unstoppable rule from this codex that what it does is that he ignores crew shaken or stun. I will say that today this vehicle is very difficult to play, and it's for two reasons. It's a close combat dedicated vehicle with flamers. First of all, with the random charge, flaming the unit that you want to charge is not the best option because you're going to risk then to go into close combat. I yeah, I always have the feeling that flamers and assaulting units are not the best combination today. I will have the feeling that the flamers is more for units that want to keep or want to stop the assault from them. It's looking most likely a more defensive weapon in the last days than really offensive weapon. And especially because you clean up the closest models to you and then you have to assault, making more difficult assault. The next point is you have initiative 3. So almost everybody will hit you first. And you only have front armor 11, so even crack grenades are able to hit you quite easily. So if you assault marines and they start putting on you crack grenades, you can die even before you are able to hit. You have the 6 plus invulnerable save, but is very little protection against this. You are also slower than any enemy dreadnought. So all the dreadnoughts are going to be faster than you, and all the monstrous creatures are going to be faster than you. And remember, you have front armor 11. Of course, once you hit with rage and 2 dreadnought weapons and 3 attacks, so you're going to do some damage because the basic you have 4, so you have rage, you're going to have 6 attacks if I'm not wrong on the assault. So you're going to do some damage, but yeah, I think they are too weak and they are very easy to take off for what they do. I don't know. I feel them sometimes, but I never been very successful with them. So I prefer to do other options from the heavy support because I think in heavy support is where we have also very good options. As I explained in another video, I think the exorcists are much better than them. So there is not much to say here. So it's yeah, and I prefer to use other options for close combat than them. I prefer to use uh, the how it's called the Repentia, that they also quite weak against shooting, or I prefer to use the Cult Assassin and the Henchman or the Ecclesiarchy Conclave, or how it's called. But anyway, if you want to use them, try to protect them as much as possible. Try to hide them behind cover. Use as maximum protection as you can to avoid to minimize the shooting to these guys, and then try to assault and flame and assault. And be careful with the flamers because you don't want to get exposed and then don't be able to assault to the enemy unit. So, but it's quite a straightforward unit to use. It's a close combat unit. You also can use them, try to hide, although they are quite big. If you have a big building on the battlefield or something like that, try to hide them behind to avoid that the enemy have an easy assault on your unit. So you can hide them behind something, and then when the enemy assaulting units are coming to pick your shooting units, you can use them to counterattack. I think these are the two options I see to use them. So to go to the assault of enemy units or try to use them as a counterattack. I don't see much more ways to use these guys. The next unit I want to talk about are the Retributors. So they are another heavy support for the Adeptas Sororitas, and there is a squad of Sisters of Battle. So the Retributor is costing 60 points, and for 60 points you have uh, 4 Retributors and 1 Retributor Superior. They have power armor, ball pistol, ball gun, frag and crack grenades. They can have the special rule is Act of Faith, Shield of Faith, and then they have the Divine Guidance of Act of Faith. What they do is the weapons are going to be rending for the turn that you activate your Act of Faith. And they might include up to 5 additional Retributors. One Retributor might take the Simulacrum Imperialis, and then 4 Retributors can take heavy weapons. You may upgrade the Retributor Superior to Veteran Superior for 10 points, and you can take Melta Bonds with the Superiors. And the Superior can take also range weapons and melee weapons, and they can go into Arena or Immolator as a dedicated transport. And if we move up to the weapons, they can take any of the heavy bolter, heavy flamer, or multi-melta for 10 points. So how I like to see them on the battlefield. One build that is very common is to have the Retributors with 4 heavy bolters. I will not pay the rate for the veteran Retributor unless you want a little bit better leadership, but I will maybe pay the 10 points for the Simulacrum Imperialis. Here does not say that that have to go in a different uh, no, yeah, have to go to other retributors. So if you want the Simulacrum Imperialis, you will need to pay for an additional Retributor for 12 points. I don't think you can put this on the Retributor Superior. So the advantage of the Act of Faith is giving you um, how it's called this rending. So having the heavy weapons, the heavy bolter with rending is quite efficient and will give quite a good heavy support. So I guess the best is to have them at your backfield, giving quite heavy support to the other units of your Sisters of Battle, and trying to protect some of the key points on the battlefield. So you will have 4 heavy bolters, and once a battle, they will have rending. And you can use the Simulacrum Imperialis to give a second run of rending. I will use any equipment that will help to repeat that if it's possible. I think the on the tank have a tank with the how it's called this load hailer. So having a vehicle with load hailer next to them will help them to guarantee that you have your act of faith well activated, because you can repeat the leadership test. So you can have next to them, you can take the immolator with heavy bolters as a support next to them, or you can take exorcist and put the loud hailer next to them. This is one way to make them use. The other way I can see also to use them is with heavy flamers. Take into account that they go to 100 points, and if you want to have another retributor with the Simulacrum Imperial, you will go to 122 points. Uh, I will not put more grades than that. Going with heavy flamer, then you will need a transport uh, to move your unit with the heavy flamers next to an enemy unit and flame with the heavy flamers, and then use the ability to give rending. You also can put the weight of the uh, is, what's called the loud hailer on the vehicle to give that to the Sisters of Battle. I don't see the build-up with for multi-melta. I think the multi-melta is not suited for infantry that doesn't have relentless. Why? Because I think the range is too short to be on a static infantry unit, and it's very easy that the enemy just negate you shooting by being out of range, and then when it's going into range just to kill your unit. I prefer to have the multi-melta on vehicles, on the immolators, or I prefer to use the Dominus to have the melta options. So I see this unit more as anti-infantry. My preferred option is with heavy bolters, put them mid backfill behind maybe an Aegis defense line or behind some ruins that give good saving to them, and just use the heavy bolter as a heavy support for the rest of the Sisters of Battle, and use the Divine Guidance to give rending once per battle, and if it's possible, two per battle if you have the Simulacrum Imperialis. The heavy flamers is another option, but for me is not the best option. I prefer to do the heavy boulders. But I think it's also a valuable option being able to put 4 shots of heavy flamers with rending is not bad neither. I have the feeling the heavy flamers are more suitable for Sisters of Battle for the troop units, because then you can combine 5 Sisters of Battle with 1 heavy flamer and 1 flamer. I think 4 heavy flamers is too overkill for this type of weapons. And if you want to go anti-ord, you can combine. Yeah, I see more using the normal units, the troop units, with a heavy flamer and a heavy flamer. So yeah, I don't think there is not much more to say here. So um, summarizing, my best option is have these ladies with 4 heavy bolters is 100 points, and then you can go to 122 points if you want to have the Simulacrum Imperialis, and the so you need the extra retributor and Simulacrum Imperialis. The Melta bombs and any equipment to the superior make no sense for me, because yeah, you are not going to make use of the close combat. If they are in close combat, they are lost. So you don't need this type of equipment. The only thing that can be make sense is put Melta bombs if you go with heavy flamers, but as I say, I don't think. I think if I go with heavy flamers, maybe I will go only with 2 heavy flamers and make the unit cheaper. So that's all what I want to explain. I did the 2 heavy supports, and yeah, and I still have the Celestians and the command squad to review, and the and one of the HQs, and I will finalize with the Adeptas Sororitas. So yeah, let me know if you use the any of these 2 units, if you use the Penitent Engine or if you use the Retributor unit, a squad, and let me know how you use them and what is your favorite build up for especially for the Retributors. That's all what I want to share in this video. And yeah, and I wait for your comments. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.